Hey everybody, Sam here, working on this week's review. Excuse me. So, as always, before we start, I want to let you all know that none of this is meant to be harsh. None of this is meant to be hurtful. All of this is actual honest critique, and the goal is for us to all get better and to learn to be better. You're probably going to see some of my mistakes, and I have to fix those too. So, so let's get going. We're going to take a look at Idles Fall. That's the last song we did on Tuesday, and let's roll. All right, before we move too much further, right here, this shot right here on the top left here, where my mouse pointer is. So there is a ton of negative space here, and there's also not zero, but there's not enough looking room for Jeremiah. So Jeremiah's looking this way, and we have all this space over here. So if he's looking this way, we want him to be in this third here. And so it just adds added tension to a song that's not necessarily tense. And so the main goal right now is I want everyone to work on technical balanced shots. And this one feels off balance, so it adds tension when he's looking this way, but there's not a lot of looking room. All right, I love this right here. So, see in the main window here, we got that's called a focus pull, and it's also known as a rack focus. So, I love those when I can get them. And that requires some planning ahead. This shot has a little bit more negative space. If we could get to the left just a little bit more and get kind of a more straight on shot here and less negative space, that would be great. But this is what we got. And yeah, so let's take a moment to talk about focus pulls and rack focus. They're the same thing. And you saw that I used that shot as he was zooming in, or not zooming in, focusing in on this shot. And there's two buttons that we use. There's the AF lock on the back for autofocus lock, and that goes really fast. And sometimes that's the goal, because we want to get there as quick as we can. But if we want to do a rack focus or a focus pull, I like saying focus pull. I'm just going to say focus pull. There's the photo button on the top right where you take a picture. If we use that instead, it will give you a smoother focus pull. So it's almost like landing softly rather than just jumping and landing and hoping you survive. If that makes sense. So yeah, let's if you see an opportunity to do that, go for it. Just make sure you plan ahead. So that means finding the spot you want, and then using that photo button to give us a nice focus autofocus in. All right, this is a great shot of Morgan. Excuse me. And this is Justin with my help. And Justin, this is my fault. she is looking this way. And so we haven't given her the proper amount of looking distance. So it feels a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, uh, it's got tension in the shot because she's looking this way. If we moved her right here, because we're using Jaden and the cross as a frame within a frame, that tension would be eased. That said, this is a well composed shot, and I mean, if we're being nitpicky, we could probably move her head just a little bit higher, so there's less headroom there. But I mean, that's a nitpicky thing. All right, so this shot here is good, but there's a few problems here. So Jeremiah is the subject in focus, and part of him is cut off here. It looks a little bit like we're trying to get Jaden as the subject, but he's not in focus. So that confuses the eye a little bit. So what we need to do is make sure we are prioritizing the subject that is in focus. So we would want to turn to the right a little bit and have all of Jeremiah in the shot. Probably move him so his eyes are right around here and all of him is in the shot. If Jaden is the not subject, the one in focus, it doesn't matter if he's cut off. We're using him as not negative space right now at this point. All right, so there's another spot here. So if we're gonna get this close, if we're gonna be focusing on the base, we need to probably go to the right a little bit. Have the base fill a little bit more of the frame because we have a bunch of negative space here, and that again, it's about creating tension and creating comfort for the eye. So I would move this shot here to the turn to the right just a little bit. And you could probably maybe, if you can get the whole headstock of the base in there, and then if you can't fit all of the bottom, as long as we have both hands visible, that'd be great. All right, so right here. If you watch those two right there, they moved at those two cameras moved at the exact same time. One thing that would be super helpful as far as end post production is we need to work on looking up before we move. And by that I mean we need to check to see if somebody else is moving before we move. So because when we move, when you're moving and trying to find another shot, that means that there's no option. Right now we have this option, and they're fairly static. So and that adds boredom to the shot, or to the overall experience. All right, so let's take a look at this shot here. I use this shot mainly because Jim is doing the kind of the most interesting part of the music, and he's got a shot here. If this shot feels a little bit it feels unsure of itself. So what I would do, because we're not, because we're kind of far away, and we know who's in focus, it's Jim, but that's the only indicator that we have that Jim is the subject. So if we were to, what I would have done is probably gotten a shot that's a little bit closer to this. And so the cross is filling some of that negative space. Jaden's filling some negative space. And Jim has his eye around that third. But overall, Jim is the subject in the third here. So, and yeah, just to fill that negative space. And so if we could, and we also got a little bit of a focus pull there. A focus pull would have been actually beautiful there if we could have gotten it. And I'm not saying that it's your fault. No, what I'm saying is a focus pull would have been awesome there because let's get back to where that was. If we look over here, and this is, some of this is happenstance because it just happens as it comes. If we could have gotten a little bit, because we knew Jim was going to be doing something there. That's why I would encourage you guys to listen to the music that's coming up too. And that's why we should probably be listening to rehearsals too. So if we knew Jim was going to be doing something, we could have prepared probably right here, gotten the shot set up where we wanted it, and then we could have focus pulled. So, and when we focus, so if we want to do a focus pull, we figure out where we want that shot to be, turn the camera, and then autofocus on something further away. Turn, get that focus shot ready to go, and then let go of the and hit that photo button so it'll just be like a nice slow focus pull. Because we got a little bit of one right there. So if we could have gotten a little bit more of a straighter shot on this, that would have been great. But I would have focused in a little bit more on his hands to get more of the base in the shot, because we just have all this negative space here. All right. So again, right here, I'm going to point this out because I really want us to work on this. If you're going to move, make sure nobody else is moving, because it slows down. It limits the options we can use and limits the amount of interest we can add. All right, so let's take a look at this shot here of Jeremiah. So this shot is pretty good. Would have been awesome if we had him move over just a little, like move to the right just a little bit so we can get just a little bit more of an angle on his, that would be his right. So move his body to the right just a little bit to just kind of give a little bit more into that third. That is a super nitpicky thing. So that I'm just trying to give ideas of what we can do better and add interest to. Oh, we got a wiggle in there. So excellent job on these two cameras here. We have two people doing so this is the breakdown. This is the breakdown of during the bridge. So break it down is what you'd hear in the headphones. And the two people doing the most interesting stuff are Jim right here on the violin and Dan on the drums, because they're going to be the most fun to watch. And you guys caught that? Great job. Oh man, it would have been great if I had Jim right here doing that pickup there instead of what I did there. Because yeah, I mean, how cool! Like you can watch me fix it here. So because we know it's we've heard it now. So put that there, and then we'll put him there. So yeah, we could have just moved that a little bit there, and then. I mean, that would have been awesome, but that's my fault for not editing that the way it should have been. But I didn't, and we don't get it. And Jim is still awesome, regardless of whether I highlighted that one spot or not. All right, so yeah. All right, excellent job on this shot right here. I like this shot a lot. We got Jaden playing. We can see his face. It's a medium shot, so we're seeing his face and what he's doing. That's the point of a medium shot here, at least in this context. And part of his head is cut off. That's fine. That's we call that giving him a haircut. And the only time we don't want to give a haircut is if it makes somebody look bald when they're not. That's about the only context I can think of to not give a haircut. I like this shot of Jim here. Unfortunately, we have that microphone in the way, and it just looks... I didn't use it because it just kind of felt weird with that microphone there. All right. Here's one thing I love. I should probably... That's not a great freeze frame of Chris. Let's fix that. All right. So, what I love... The one thing... I love that you guys all did this and did it in unison. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 shots that we can use. And anytime we can add to the feeling that while you're watching this online that you are part of the congregation watching. That's great, because this feels like you're watching from up close. This feels like you're just kind of off to the side watching Chris, and this is him talking directly to you, which is the worship leader cam. And that's the main reason we have this, is because it just feels like, hey, I'm talking to you. And yeah, great job getting there, and well composed shots. And because he's talking to the camera, so we're going to get incredibly nitpicky here for just a second. Because he's talking directly to this camera right here, we probably want him to be a little bit more centered in the shot. Think of it as like a YouTube video, because a lot of YouTube videos are talking heads, and they're almost always in the center when they're talking to the camera, because that feels symmetrical while you're talking. So this shot is just fine because we have things filling the negative space here, but it would be better if we could have him in the center because he's talking directly to that camera. This shot, solid shot. We got negative space taken up by Shonda and Bob here, and the only thing I would say here is move Chris to the right just a tiny bit, so it feels like there's a little bit more looking room, because he's looking this way. All that said, I hope this was helpful. If you have questions, personal attacks, send them to me via email, or leave it in the comments, and I will try to respond to everything. Thanks, guys. It is an honor and a privilege to work with you all. We couldn't get this done without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a good one.